leave this city. Let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty, with the wind blowing in your hair. We can look back someday. Baby, don't you understand that we only get one life? I wanna make it count, honey. Come on now and take my hand.
It's been raining the past couple days and it's extremely muddy, so we really haven't been able to do a whole lot. We know the next big project we want to work on is the skirting of the house, and we're going to talk about that later on in today's video, but we need it to dry up a bit and there's clear weather in the future, so we're going to hold off a few days and focus a little bit on the ventilation of our house. So this is our current situation when it comes to a kitchen, and while she's not cosmetically beautiful, she's definitely functional and serves her purpose. We're not really focused on the inside of the house and the cosmetics right now. We're really focused on just getting the house up and running and setting the foundation in terms of making sure that we're prepared for all 4 seasons, because we really haven't lived all 4 seasons in the house. So once we really feel more comfortable in going into winter, don't have as many outside projects to work on, we'll definitely work on the kitchen and finishing the walls and paint and floors and all of that good stuff. For right now, she serves her purpose in terms of functionality except for ventilation. We cook a lot and we are constantly noticing.
Summer likes to smoke up the house whenever she fries things.
I do.
So we definitely need some ventilation in. Typically we'll put a box fan in the window and then open the kitchen window to kind of like circulate and vent it like that. We did prepare for a hood vent and have an outside hood vent installed and everything. We just need to hook up the inside part now, so that's what we're going to be doing.
Our kitchen isn't designed for these cabinets. Our kitchen is designed for Home Depot cabinets, but we found a great deal on these cabinets. They were $300 on Facebook Marketplace, all metal vintage cabinets. Could not pass up the opportunity.
We're building our off-grid home completely on our own, and we try to recycle and repurpose as many building materials as we can, and today we're working on kitchen cabinets. We found this newspaper stuffed in the trimming from 1983, so that's when I'm assuming that they were installed. These are St. Charles vintage all metal cabinets and have some really cool features in them, like several Lazy Susans and this spice rack that originally Cody was going to build for me, but I love this one just the same, and I was most excited to tackle this pantry.
We had to really rethink our entire kitchen setup, and everything is going to have to be shifted over. We're going to make it all work. It's going to look right in the end, but it's definitely not what we originally planned. I think it's almost better. Hi guys, I wanted to take a quick break because I got a package in the mail and I want to tell you about it. We typically talk to you from our kitchen sink. So you're sitting right in front of our kitchen sink and you see this blank wall. And I want to spice it up a little bit, and Mixed Tiles reached out. So thank you, Mixed Tiles, for sponsoring today's video. Mixed Tiles is the easiest way to decorate your walls with your favorite memories in under 5 minutes. Using a special adhesive strip, Mixed Tiles sticks to your walls without any nails and can be moved around multiple times without leaving any damage to your walls. Ordering Mixed Tiles was super easy with their app. You just choose your photos, choose your frame, and you're good to go. Use the link in my description and use the code on the screen to buy 10 and get 10 for free. This is valid for 30 days, and you can also use the QR code here on the screen. And now whenever we are filming in the kitchen, we can look at this instead of a completely blank wall. And you're probably like, why are you decorating before you even finished your walls? Well, because this is removable, I can remove it, paint my walls, and put it back up. And we're good to go. Thank you again to Mixed Tiles for sponsoring today's video, and let's get back to it. He's removing the bottom so he can get a good look to be able to drill a hole and mount it. He has everything taken apart and he has it all figured out, so we're ready to start the install process. He's taking out the pre-cut metal section to hook up the vent.
The cabinet is 3 inches wider than the hood vent is, so we have to offset it 1.5 inches on each side to make sure that it's centered. So I'm going to go ahead and throw some kills up here on the drywall, just some new drywall sealer.
We're not ready to paint because we don't know what colors or anything that we want yet, but at the same time we don't want just plain drywall that's not sealed in. We're going to install the actual hood vent, and then he's going to work on all of the actual venting itself. Now he's going to get started on the electrical.
So now that we have the vent installed, all the wiring done, and all the pretty stuff put back in place, I don't know what you would call that, the grates, the last thing we have to do is put in the ventilation. What you think?
I love it. I'm so excited. There's still a ton of things that we're going to do in this kitchen. We're going to completely paint the cabinets. I haven't decided what kind of countertops that I want. I really like butcher block. That's what we put in our last house, so that's kind of what I'm leaning towards, but we haven't decided. We also need to add backsplash, paint, tile floors, redo this entire area, custom build and insert for our microwave. There are so many things that need to happen in this kitchen, but I'm very happy with ventilation at the current moment. We have one more area of the house that we need to properly ventilate, and that is a fresh air intake for our fireplace. But first, Cody's going to install the final light in our kitchen so we can finish making a dusty mess in there.
Because of how airtight the house is, the fireplace actually wouldn't be able to get enough air to be able to feed itself and burn correctly. So this will make sure that there's no airflow restrictions or anything like that for the fireplace as well. For the outside portion of the house, we're using a dryer hood vent because that was the best thing I could find basically. Because that's made for air to go out, it has these flaps that close whenever there's no air pressure and then open whenever the air is flowing. So since we're having air come in through it, I'm just going to take a piece of screen and attach it to it. That way nothing can get inside, but it still has good airflow. So the first fireplace we had didn't have a fresh air intake, so we didn't know where we were going to put it at or the requirements that our new fireplace was going to have or anything like that, so we just never installed one. We're going to start by drilling a hole in the outside of the house, and then I'm going to take my saw and cut that into a bigger hole and go from there. And the reason we left it with the space right here like this is for anticipation of siding it eventually. But I'll probably build a little box to kind of enclose it and make it look nice and then waterproof it for now.
It's not the prettiest, but whenever we put rock on the wall, we'll worry about cosmetics later. Fresh air intakes in general are just not the prettiest, so do what we can, but she works.
Time to get a fire going and make sure she works. A lot of people like to use newspaper, but I'm impatient and it tends to smoke out the house in past experiences, so blowtorch it is. I'll usually blow it up the flue a little bit first to get a little bit of heat up there. That way the smoke will naturally want to travel up there, and then I'll start lighting the wood.
The last vent in our ventilation series to our shipping container house is our bathroom vent, which we installed a long time ago because we really don't want to have a ton of humidity in our bathroom. So having a bathroom vent really circulates the air and keeps that humidity down. So I canned some stewed tomatoes the other day and I took everybody's advice, no more rings, and then I even took it off my Rotel jars. I'm super excited about the stewed tomatoes. You can use them in different ways. They're basically just plain tomatoes. I did not add anything extra like I did with the Rotel. It's literally just tomatoes. So I can use lasagna, tacos, stews, chili, anything where it needs to be mild versus spicy, I'll use these. So super, super, super excited. Also, thanks for the advice because that helps. All the advice helps.
I found this really cool rock the other day. I don't remember where I found it at, but if you see, there's like a perfect hole right there with a crystal inside of it. I don't know if we should leave it like that because how cool it is, or if we should bust it open and see the crystal. I don't know. People who know rocks and crystals, I guess, drop a comment below and tell us what we should do. Thought that was pretty cool.
Let's go put the girls away and then we'll talk all about skirting.
Majority of the time, they put themselves away if it gets too dark. Oh, sweet girls, boys, whatever you are.
Night, duck ducks.
With winter coming, we're definitely prepared. There's a few places that we need to insulate our pipes, like P-trap and things like that. And we can talk about all of that in a different video whenever we start skirting. For the most part, we feel pretty prepared going into winter. However, we do want to go ahead and start getting skirting ready. So there's a ton of things that go into this, like rush treatment underneath the containers. We have to insulate, we need to cut the wood. We are going to be using green wood, so I'm going to have Cody go into that a little bit. And we also need to figure out something to put on the bottom because we don't want the wood to directly sit on the ground. So there's a ton of stuff that goes into this, and that's going to be the next big project that we're doing. So be looking forward to that.
Like Summer said, we're going to be using green wood for the siding, at least for the outer part that you can actually see, not necessarily the framing. There's a lot of factors that go into using green wood, and we'll talk a lot more about that later, but if you do it the right way, there's no problem with using green wood.
Both Cody and myself aren't feeling the best. It's been 2 days of headaches and sore muscles, and I don't know what's going on, but hopefully we're gonna start feeling better. Either way, we are super hungry and I don't wanna cook, so let's make the easiest and fastest dinner ever. So I have some potatoes boiling with just a little bit of broth and butter and then like salt and pepper. And then this is deer steak that my dad harvested, so free essentially. And then I just kind of doctored it up with some seasonings. Deer steak's the only steak that I'm pretty okay with putting it in the oven. Sometimes I'll pan fry it, sometimes I will like bread it and fry it. Sometimes we'll do it on the grill. There's tons of ways that you can do it, but tonight she's going in the oven. Have some corn with just like butter, salt, pepper going, and now I'm gonna doctor up my potatoes, and then steak is done, but it's gonna stay warm in the oven. Super easy, no leftovers.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's delicious.
Okay, let's go eat. Alright, well we are nearing the end, but I just wanted to go over a few things really quick. Stay tuned for skirting because that whole process is going to be in the near future, as well as I know that some people were asking me to put all of my kitchen gadgets on our Amazon storefront because there are a ton of them. I finally have a kitchen gadget section, so go check that out if you are curious where like chopper and the meat chopper and all of the other little things that I use in the kitchen are. That's on our Amazon storefront now. As well as there are a ton of scammers. If you follow other YouTubers, I'm sure this happens to them too. There are a ton of scammers out there. Quite frequently you'll see comments from like a fake account that has our picture and all of that, and it's from like a Telegram. Please don't fall for spam. If we aren't reaching out from our own personal account and it's our main page, it's not us. If there's something else attached to it, it's not us. We don't have merch or anything like that. I have stickers on our Etsy, but I've never even announced that, like have it listed. So don't fall for it. Let's do questions, but first, we got an Amazon package. Do you want to show them, babe?
Yep.
So this is from Petra LaForest, and she actually commented, and so we talked back and forth. Super sweet, super kind. She sent us cheesecloths, which I'm so excited about this, especially since I'm canning and doing all of those good things. I've seen a ton of recipes that ask for cheesecloth, and I'm like, I don't have any. So I'm so excited about this. So thank you, Petra.
She also sent us a bee house. So I put this on our list because I saw it on Amazon. It said that it was to attract mason bees to like your garden area, and they help pollinate your garden, stuff like that. Super excited to see if we can get some bees over by the garden and help them pollinate our plants.
For sure. Oh, these are gonna be such a big help.
Yeah, some solar lights. So these things are pretty cool. I've been wanting to try them out. We'll let you know how we like them. They're like little rechargeable light bulbs, pretty much. They come with little solar panels. We don't have any electricity up at our storage building, so we can't see anything inside of there. So I figured these would have been perfect so we could have lights inside of it permanently and not have to always worry about taking a flashlight up there.
Yeah, so it's going to be such a big help because we're constantly going in there looking for stuff from the old house for this house. We're always having to lug flashlights around and then they'll die because we forget to charge them. So having this is going to be such a great help. So thank you so much, Petra. We really appreciate it.
Oh, the solar panels are like phone charger,
yeah.
So I wonder if we can charge other stuff with it.
Maybe. We'll have to look into it.
Thank you.
The Life in Pines, which this is a super cute, super sweet channel. I follow them on Instagram and YouTube, so definitely check them out. I'll have their information here. But they said, what would be your biggest pro and con of building and living in a shipping container home that you've experienced so far? We've enjoyed following along. XOXO, Jenna and Ted. Okay, so we don't really know a con. We might have one after we go through winter, but we're sitting here trying to think, and relatively any issues that we have had have worked themselves out for the most part.
Probably the biggest con would be having to use spray foam on the inside since it's a metal building because it's pricey. So
very expensive. But we found a way to kind of work around that by still keeping the vapor barrier, but also using fiberglass to bring the rest of the R value. So I would say there's pros and cons in terms of building, but for the most part, we've made it all relatively work. We've stayed within budget and everything's really been a pro for us. A pro, I would say, would be how quickly everything has happened. For it just being Cody and I, and got pretty much the house on the foundation and lived in it within less than a year, and then we're coming up on basically a full year, and I think that's just wild with it just being us two. So.
And I think a big pro with shipping containers is when you're building in the middle of nowhere, you need somewhere to store your building materials and tools and all that stuff. So the minute they're delivered, you already have a dried-in building to be able to store all your stuff.
Yeah,
so I'd say that's probably the biggest pro for building in the middle of nowhere with a shipping container.
Yeah, but thank y'all for your question. Here is their page, and then I'll also leave it in the description as well.
Ziggy says, are you thinking about adding more containers onto your build, and if so, what configuration are you thinking of? Okay, so right now we don't have any plan to add any more containers on. We do want to add a sunroom onto the back, but that'll be stick frame because it's small, and then we want it wider than 8 feet, so it wouldn't make sense to use a shipping container.
Yeah. We don't know if we're gonna stack any on the top. We've talked about it, like we've said, maybe not. We definitely want to have a bigger home one day. We have toyed around with some ideas, but in terms of adding more shipping containers, I don't know, probably not.
Maybe, probably not.
We'll see. Lots of more building though. There will be a ton more building. We just don't know if it'll be shipping containers. Probably going to be more on the different side. We're not really cookie cutter type people, but I don't think we're going to necessarily go with shipping containers. Brianna Bell says, oh my goodness, where did you get them white bowls from? Amazon storefront. I have them there now. They're my favorite bowls. Great for soup or salads. They're just huge, big white bowls. When I'm mixing things on my couch, I don't want things to fall into my lap, so I want a really big, wide, deep bowl. So yeah, Amazon.
And Ian says, when are you going to finish the inside drywall? Soon.
Probably more towards over winter, like we've said. Simple fact that we have to finish outside and prepping the containers for winter before we can start on any of the fun projects, unfortunately. So finishing drywall is technically a fun project.
Yeah, when we're stuck inside more, we'll work inside more and work on more projects like that. But for now, we're just working outside and trying to get all that done. But pretty soon we're going to be kind of forced to stay inside from the cold weather anyway. So.
I mean, yeah, like for instance, these past couple days we've been forced to stay inside because of the rain, so there will be a ton more days like that coming in the future. So y'all will see more inside projects, and I'm sorry that y'all haven't seen more of them since, but that's just kind of how things happen. I don't know what we're going to do next because I don't know if the weather's going to cooperate, so we shall see, but see you in a couple days.
Bye.
Bye.
Baby, don't you